My name is Baja Clarke. At the time of the attack on Pearl Harbor, I was a freshman at Purdue University. I had finished nurses training. Some months later, I learned that the Army was accepting married women in the Army Nurse Corps. And I decided that I too would go off to war. In the spring of 1944, I was sent to Louisville, Kentucky, where I spent 4 months training to serve in an air evacuation unit. Although we were medical personnel, we marched and took basic training, including learning to shoot a .45 automatic and a carbine. This was the only time I shot firearms, but I beat the men on the rifle range that day, and my fellow nurses were proud of me. But the most important thing we learned was how to load wounded servicemen on the airplanes. Early in the summer of 1944, my fellow nurses and I embarked on a hospital ship to Europe. This was the first time I had ever seen the ocean, and I was going to cross it. That night I was shocked when I saw that we were lighted up like a Christmas tree, with a huge red cross on the top. Our route was in the South Atlantic, and I think it was believed that the U-boats would not bother us there. It took about 2 weeks to cross. After reaching Naples, we flew to Casablanca, where we were to stay. A new plane load of patients had come into the hospital before continuing on to the United States. The men were pretty cheerful because they were going home, but there were some sad stories. I remember one young lieutenant who came in on a litter sitting up in a full uniform, but he was blind. And when it was time for him to get a shower, I asked one of the sergeants to take him to the shower room so he could be clean too. I was sent to Cairo to carry out the backload of patients from China, Burma, India theater. The work was strenuous. When we would get back from carrying a load to Casablanca, on the next stop of the route, another load would be waiting, and the flights were 18 hours long, with an interim stop along the way at Benghazi or Tripoli or Tunis. Since we all finally became sick from lack of rest, we were returned to Casablanca, where I was till the end of the war. On VJ Day, or rather the night for us in Casablanca, we got the news via armed forces radio, and immediately celebrations broke out. But it was not a day for celebrating for me. I walked out on the little porch of our house trying to thank God for sparing our lives. But it was a sad time. So much had happened. So many lives were lost. So many lives changed.